Hi, welcome back to another video. And today we will be talking about Donald Trump's approval rating hitting in the negative numbers or reaching the negative numbers here for the first time in his second term. Now, towards the beginning here, like we've talked about before, Donald Trump enjoyed this high approval rating, most being 8.2 points, and his approval reached a high of 50%. That is the highest Trump has ever gotten. Trump never got to 50% in his first term. He has in the second, though. So, for about a couple days, about half of the country approved Donald Trump. Well, he soon lost that. Now 49% is, right around half, but still, this is, at 50% was a first for President Donald Trump. And him losing that really does not come as a surprise to me how divisive he is. I mean, we saw that in the State of the Union address yesterday of how partisan and how diverse his speech was, especially slamming the opposition Democratic Party. And now we are seeing, as that State of the Union address took place, a couple hours after, Donald Trump's approval rating fell in negative numbers. His disapproval is now ahead by almost half a point here. His disapproval being at 47.9, his approval being at 47.6. Very different to where we were only a couple months ago, where at the start of his presidency, his approval was at 49.7, his disapproval was at 41.5, and his approval was ahead by 8.2%, an all-time high. You skip a little later, and you can see his approval, like I mentioned before, hit an all-time high of 50%. And, still the approval is at 8.2%, but still very good numbers for Donald Trump. And even though his disapproval rating raised a little bit and lowered to 5 points, still, it was still very good for President Trump. And sure, his approval would start to drop. It slowly started to drop, although in this case, for presidency, it actually very quickly, 8 points drop in about a month. But still, he was able to, he's currently beating his own record here. He's beating his own record as you compare it to the first term, where he never got to 50% in his first term for his approval rating. He was very much disliked in his first term. He never got to 50%. The highest he got was 47. As of right now, I do believe he's at 47% right now. The highest he got was 47. It doesn't show here, but highest he got was 47. He obviously never recovered. He was ahead. His approval was ahead for about 2 weeks, and that was it. Now, for Donald Trump's first term, or for Donald Trump's second term, we have seen something very different. We have seen Donald Trump, his approval, being ahead much longer than 2 weeks. We are now 6 weeks in, and Donald Trump's approval has collapsed as of yesterday or last night. And so Donald Trump's approval was able to survive for way much longer than his first term, but still a long, very much shorter time than Biden's approval survived. Biden's approval survived for about 8 months, over half a year, until Biden's approval completely collapsed. It took Donald Trump just a month, not even 2 months, not even 60 days. It took him a month and a half for his approval rating to completely collapse. That just shows how divisive President Trump is. And it shows how unpopular he is. If he is able to go to 8 points, if he is able to go from January 20th, 2025 to 8.2%, and then to March 4th, 2025, to his disapproval leading by 0.3%. That is 8-point shift in the wrong direction for Donald Trump's approval rating. If all that can happen in a month, where will his approval be next month? Where would it be? Well, it's going to be hard to see because, unfortunately, last night we did learn that 538 will soon be shutting down. It is currently being worked by 15 employees, so I probably won't be using this data and this graph for much longer. However, it has been quite enjoyable to use this. It was enjoyable to use the Biden graph. It was enjoyable to use all the other graphs we used. But I will probably be moving to Real Clear Politics to show you this data. Now, Real Clear Politics does have Donald Trump up in the approval, but it's only by 1 point. So these approval comparing to 538 and Real Clear Politics, really not that much of a difference. Sure, Trump has a 1-point advantage if you go to Real Clear Politics because you do have a lot of Republican-sponsored polls kind of benefiting him. But in 538, you don't have those pollsters. You don't have Rasmussen. You don't have all the other ones. You have very good, respectable YouGov, B+, Morning Consults, an A+, CNN, all these, and they have the approval and disapproval going back and forth, right? Disapproval +7, disapproval +4, approval +5, approval +1, even, approval +2, approval +3, approval +8, disapprove +4, disapprove +4. So you see what I'm saying. But as of right now, Donald Trump is now an unpopular president, and it didn't take him that long to get here. And like I mentioned before, if it only took him about a month and a half for his approval to completely collapse, where will he be from a month from now? Where will he be from a half a year from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 4 years from now? It is really interesting when you look at it. And I think we are probably going to see Donald Trump's approval rating continue to collapse, continue to sink. With the tariffs that were just in place yesterday, with the divisive speech in the State of the Union address, with the prices still raging on, with inflation starting to bounce back, with everything that's happening right now, it does not benefit Donald Trump at all. Not at all. Especially with the discomfort with Doge. I don't think it helps at all. So we are going to see how this goes, and it's going to be very interesting to watch to see how this all develops, if Donald Trump's approval was able to bounce back, if its disapproval rises even more, and we will see how it all develops. I mean, it was pretty steady here for a while now until it collapsed last night. Now, we do have some polls here from the State of the Union address from last night. So according to the most recent Gallup poll, Trump's job approval rating was 46 since he took office in his second term. His first term overall was 41%. So like I said, Donald Trump is currently doing better than his former self when he was president back in 2017 to 2021. In 2017-2021, his approval was much worse than it is now. Donald Trump is doing much better than he was previously in his first term. However, he is doing much worse than to other former presidents like Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, George Bush, all of them. Donald Trump, despite beating himself in his first term, is still doing better than or worse than all of his predecessors. All of them, except for himself in his first term. See, where was I? At any given time during both terms thus far, his lowest to highest approval rating have ranged between 34 to 49%. A Reuters Ipsos poll reported that 44% of those surveys gave him a favorable approval rating of his first month performance in office. There's also reporting that public approval of his current job so far he has remained higher than his first term in office and higher than former President Joe Biden overall. The Reuters poll broke down a 47% favorability rating on his approach over immigration, compared to 42% that did not support his immigration policy. So still, kind of a thin margin when it comes down to the immigration polls, but still, Donald Trump has a +5 favorability in when it comes down to his immigration policy. The ABC News Project 530 poll shows a 47.7% favorability of Trump's presidential performance as of Friday morning, and the same poll showed 54.4% of Americans disapprove of Congress, and Vice President J.D. Vance had a slightly higher disapproval rating of 42.8% compared to 40.8% that viewed him favorably. Tuesday night's congressional address was met with protests by some Democratic lawmakers. They either boycotted the speech, walked out, or heckled and waved signs that read, "Must steal, save Medicaid, protect veterans, no kings and lies." So yeah, you are obviously trying to see the Democrats trying to fight back any way they can. Really not much they can do, and they are very powerless, but it matters in the numbers. And the numbers say that Donald Trump right now is an unpopular president. Can this change? Absolutely. Can Trump try and turn around? He can if he tries. But it doesn't seem like he's trying. And there are so many issues right now that are not helping Donald Trump in any way. And if this continues, it's only going to get worse for President Trump. And I think it's only going to get worse because there really is no light in front of the tunnel. So we are going to see how this develops, how it goes. And we're going to see if his disapproval rises, drops. We will see what happens. I will also be maybe making videos on J.D. Vance's approval rating. However, there's no graph, and his favorability. There's not much polls that do it. So the last one was on March 3rd. The last one was on March 3rd. And usually most of it is unfavorable. Like JD Vance is not very loved at all throughout the country, but we will see if that changes. And it has gotten closer since the election, since the inauguration. Like before, as you can see during the campaign, his unfavorability rating shot up to 10 points. As of right now, it is only 2 points, which, yes, that's an 8-point shift in the right direction, but still you can see his unfavorability starting to rise once again. His favorability, the lowest, it being obviously 25%, till it shot up to 31%. And as of right now, it looks like it's his highest ever at 40%. His unfavorability rating obviously being at previously 45%, 43%. So still not the highest as of right now, but we will see how this all goes. And I will definitely be making videos on JD Vance's approval rating because I believe that deserves attention. And I will be giving that attention such. So make sure to watch out for those videos. And yeah, make sure to watch out for those. But anyways, that is the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, please like and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.